The modern image of Santa Claus in a red suit with a white beard developed gradually, but a significant role in his popularization was played by advertising from the Coca-Cola Company. Beginning in the early 30s of the 20th century, artists created vibrant depictions of the jolly old man with a bag of gifts for advertising campaigns. These illustrations were widely circulated in magazines and on posters, solidifying the character's recognizable appearance. Although the image of Santa existed before, it was the advertising images that greatly influenced how he came to be represented in popular culture around the world. The behavior of giraffes during mating is linked to an unusual method of determining a female's readiness to mate. A male may gently nudge the female with his head in the abdominal area, stimulating her to urinate. After this, he analyzes the smell and taste of the urine, as it contains chemical signals related to the animal's hormonal state. If the female is in the ovulation period, the male exhibits further courtship behavior and may begin mating. This method of recognizing reproductive readiness is part of a complex communication system among giraffes and helps increase the likelihood of successful reproduction. The brain of a squid has an unusual structure. It forms a ring-like structure that surrounds the esophagus. This anatomical feature is related to the compact arrangement of the nervous system in the animal's head. However, this design has an interesting consequence. If a squid swallows a piece of prey that is too large, the food passes through the area surrounded by the brain. An object that is too big can create pressure on the nervous tissues. In extreme cases, this can lead to damage to the nervous system and disruption of the body's functions. Therefore, squids usually tear their prey into smaller pieces before swallowing it. Jam and jelly may appear to be similar products, but there is an important difference in their preparation. Jam is made from crushed or finely chopped fruits that are cooked with sugar until thickened. The finished product usually contains pieces of pulp, giving it a denser texture. Jelly, on the other hand, is prepared differently. It uses not the whole fruits, but their clear juice. After cooking with sugar and gelling agents, it results in a smooth and uniform mass without any fruit pieces. It is the method of processing the fruits that defines the difference in taste and texture between these two sweet products. Cheese is among the products that are most frequently targeted for theft in stores worldwide. According to estimates from trade organizations, around 4% of all cheese produced each year is stolen at various stages of retail. This statistic makes it one of the items with an increased risk of loss for supermarkets and grocery chains. The high cost of certain varieties, convenient packaging size, and steady demand make cheese an attractive target for thieves. For this reason, many retailers are enhancing their control over this product by using special security tags and additional surveillance systems. An engineering experiment transformed an ordinary pencil sharpener into a device that operates at an astonishing speed. A team of developers from Current Concept decided to test the limits of such a simple tool and significantly upgraded its design. They connected powerful rotational equipment to the sharpener's mechanism, allowing for a dramatic increase in operational speed. As a result, a pencil placed inside the device is almost instantly sharpened into fine shavings. The entire process takes less than 1 second. This experiment demonstrates how even the most familiar objects can become part of unusual technical trials. The landing on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission was accompanied by technical difficulties that could have jeopardized the entire flight. During the final phase of descent, the onboard computer of the lunar module issued alarming signals several times and automatically rebooted. The cause was a system overload due to the large volume of incoming data. Despite this, the software was designed in such a way that after rebooting, it quickly restored the priority tasks necessary for landing. Ultimately, the crew continued the descent and successfully landed on the surface of the moon. Although these moments became some of the most tense throughout the mission. The history of the electric chair's creation is linked to the name of American dentist and engineer Alfred Porter Southwick. He became interested in the possibility of using electricity as a method of execution after witnessing an accident involving electric current. Southwick suggested that such energy could provide a faster and, as it was believed at the time, less painful means of execution compared to existing methods. His ideas led to the development of a device that later became known as the electric chair. By the end of the 19th century, This method was implemented in several states in the United States and became part of the system for carrying out death sentences. The sense of smell in dogs is so developed that it allows them to navigate time through scents. When a person leaves a room, their scent gradually disperses and becomes weaker. A dog is capable of detecting these changes and roughly determining how much time has passed since the owner left. This skill is related to the structure of their nose. Dogs have more than 200 million olfactory receptors, while humans have only a few million. Thanks to this sensitivity, trained service dogs can detect a wide range of substances, from explosives and drugs to electronic devices hidden in luggage. The emperor penguin has set one of the most impressive records among all birds related to underwater diving. Observations by scientists have shown that these marine birds are capable of diving to depths greater than 560 meters off the coast of East Antarctica. This depth is considered the greatest reliably recorded for birds by researchers. In comparison, this depth is nearly double the height of the famous London skyscraper, the Shard. Such dives are possible due to the physiological features of emperor penguins. Their bodies efficiently utilize oxygen, and their dense feathers and layer of fat help retain heat in cold water. Some species of vultures use an unusual method to cool their bodies in hot climates. The birds secrete liquid onto their own legs, which then evaporates and lowers their body temperature. This physiological mechanism is called urohydrosis and is widespread among several large birds. The evaporating liquid acts as a natural cooling system, especially important in conditions of high temperatures and direct sunlight. An additional effect is considered to be its antiseptic action. The chemical components of the secretions can suppress bacteria and parasites that the birds encounter when coming into contact with animal carcasses. Sea otters are known for their unusual habit of holding hands while sleeping, which helps them stay together in open water. When several animals rest nearby, they often form a unique chain by linking their front paws. This behavior prevents the group from drifting apart due to waves or currents. The otters gain additional stability by wrapping themselves in long strands of kelp, which serve as a natural anchor. This allows the animals to rest peacefully without fearing that they will be carried far from their companions. The social habits of these marine mammals have long attracted the attention of researchers and are considered a striking example of cooperation in the animal kingdom. The reddish marks on the skin of hippos sometimes create the impression that the animal is covered in blood, but in reality, this is a special protective secretion. The skin of the hippo secretes a specific liquid containing pigments that give it a characteristic reddish hue. One of these pigments is known as hipposudoric acid. This substance serves several important functions. It helps protect the animal's skin from solar radiation, while also acting as a natural antiseptic. Thanks to this unusual secretion, the skin of hippos is less susceptible to damage and infections, which is especially important for animals that spend a significant amount of time in water and under the sun. Some members of the nightshade family are known for their toxicity. However, their fruits can become safe for consumption as they fully ripen. In their unripe state, many of these plants contain alkaloids and other defensive compounds designed to deter animals. As they mature, the concentration of such compounds often decreases, making the fruit suitable for eating. This characteristic is also found in some common agricultural crops. For example, green unripe tomatoes may contain toxic compounds that gradually break down during the ripening process. This chemical transformation is part of the plant's natural strategy, first to protect the seeds and then to attract animals for their dispersal. A small plastic or metal piece at the end of a shoelace has its own name, aglet. This seemingly simple part serves an important practical function. The aglet reinforces the end of the shoelace and prevents it from fraying, maintaining the shape of the fibers and making it easier to thread through holes in shoes or clothing. Without such a tip, the fibers would quickly unravel, turning into a soft tassel, which would significantly complicate the use of shoelaces. Similar elements are used in footwear, sportswear, and many other products. Despite its modest size, the aglet is an example of how a small, structural detail can greatly enhance the convenience and durability of everyday items. In some countries, medical methods for treating alcohol dependence are used based on the formation of a stable physiological reaction to alcohol. One such approach involves the insertion of a small capsule containing a medication under the skin, which blocks the normal breakdown of alcohol in the body. When a person consumes even a small amount of alcohol, substances accumulate in the blood that cause a sharp deterioration in well-being. Symptoms such as severe nausea, dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and other unpleasant effects appear. This reaction creates a lasting aversion to alcohol and is used as an auxiliary method in the treatment of dependence under medical supervision. In the English language, there are specific collective terms used to refer to groups of animals. When it comes to gorillas, a group of these primates is sometimes called a band. This designation is related to their social way of life. Gorillas live in small family groups, typically led by a dominant male. Within such a group, close social bonds are maintained, there is cooperative care for the young, and territory is defended. Such collective names often have a figurative nature and reflect the behavioral characteristics of the animals. The most continuously working muscle in the human body is considered to be the heart. This organ functions without stopping throughout a person's life, ensuring the circulation of blood through the vessels. In one day, the heart pumps more than 2,000 gallons of blood, supplying organs with oxygen and nutrients. Over the decades of life, the number of its contractions reaches enormous values. According to physiologists' estimates, in approximately 70 years, the heart makes more than 2.5 billion beats. Such a colossal load makes the heart one of the most resilient and vital organs of the human body. The most effective predator among insects is the dragonfly, with a hunting success rate of approximately 95%. This figure can be attributed to the unique features of its anatomy and nervous system. Its enormous compound eyes provide nearly a full panoramic view and allow it to instantly detect movement in the air. Visual signals are almost directly linked to the functioning of its wings and muscles. As a result, the dragonfly reacts almost instantaneously and can sharply change its flight direction. The insect intercepts its prey mid-air, accurately calculating the trajectory, which often leaves the victim unaware that it has become a target. Once, the waters around New York were filled with a colossal number of oysters, forming huge natural reefs. Before the active development of the coastline and industrialization, the harbor served as one of the largest ecosystems of its kind on the Atlantic coast. Billions and even trillions of mollusks formed dense colonies, creating a complex underwater structure that provided shelter for numerous other marine organisms. Oysters played an important ecological role. They filtered the water, removing organic particles and pollutants. As a result, the water in the bay remained noticeably cleaner. However, intensive fishing, pollution, and the construction of port infrastructure nearly destroyed these natural reefs. Army ants demonstrate an astonishing collective survival strategy during floods. When water inundates their territory, thousands of individuals link together, forming a dense living ball. The bodies of the ants connect with their legs and mandibles, creating a stable structure that floats on the surface of the water. Currents may roll this ball, but the colony remains intact. The ants inside the structure constantly change places. Those who find themselves at the bottom gradually move to the top, gaining access to air. Thanks to this collective mechanism, the colony is able to survive prolonged flooding. Observations in child development sometimes reveal unexpected statistical connections between physical characteristics and academic skills. In some studies, it has been noted that children with larger foot sizes tend to achieve higher scores on reading and comprehension tests. Researchers explain this not as a direct link between foot size and intelligence, but rather as a reflection of the overall pace of physical development. Children who grow faster may reach developmental milestones related to cognitive skills earlier. Therefore, such a correlation is viewed as an indirect indicator of age-related and biological growth factors. In linguistics, there is a specific term for words formed by combining parts of two different words. These hybrid forms are called portmanteaus. A classic example is the word brunch, which emerged from the combination of breakfast and lunch. Similarly, the word motel is formed by merging elements of motor and hotel. Such words often arise in colloquial speech, advertising, and media when there is a need to succinctly denote a new concept. Over time, some of them become a familiar part of the language and are established in dictionaries. Some details of one of the most secret scientific projects of the 20th century were protected by an astonishingly simple code. During the work on the Manhattan Project, key documents were kept in just a few safes, each locked with a combination related to a well-known mathematical constant. The code corresponded to Euler's number, approximately equal to 2 and 7/10, 1/8, 2/8. The legendary physicist Richard Feynman managed to open these safes by demonstrating keen observation and ingenuity. He noticed on the secretary's desk a note of another famous constant, the number pi, which helped him deduce the principle behind the combination selection and unlock the safe. Scientists believe that a significant portion of living organisms on Earth remains unknown to science. Despite years of research, the biological diversity of the planet has only been partially studied. According to rough estimates, a large share of terrestrial and marine species has yet to be officially described. Particularly many unknown organisms are hidden in inaccessible places, such as deep-sea areas, dense tropical forests, or underground cave systems. Each year, researchers discover new species of plants, insects, fungi, and microorganisms. These discoveries demonstrate how complex and diverse Earth's biosphere remains, and how many forms of life are still awaiting their scientific description. The cordyceps mushroom is known for its unusual reproductive strategy, which involves influencing the behavior of insects. Spores of this fungus land on the body of an insect and gradually germinate inside its organism. As the fungus develops, it begins to affect the host's behavior, causing it to leave its hiding places and climb to higher parts of plants or other surfaces. This position proves advantageous for the spread of spores. After the insect dies, the fruiting body of the fungus grows from its body, releasing new spores into the surrounding environment. This complex life cycle allows cordyceps to spread effectively and is one of the most well-known examples of parasitic interaction in nature. In their natural habitat, royal pythons sometimes use termite mounds as convenient shelters. These snakes find protected spaces inside such structures, where a stable temperature is maintained and there are secluded passages. Such conditions make termite mounds suitable places for resting and hunting. Inside, rodents often appear, primarily mice, which come there for the termites. Pythons hunt these animals and gain a constant food source. As a result, a unique ecological balance emerges. The snakes find safe refuge and prey, while the termite colonies indirectly benefit as the number of their predators decreases. The pattern known as Penrose tiling is an unusual way of filling a plane, where shapes create a complex design without regular repetition. This system is named after the British mathematician and physicist Roger Penrose. In the 1970s, he studied a set of several uniquely shaped tiles that could be arranged according to strict rules. Despite the limited number of elements, the resulting design does not form a typical periodic pattern. Such mosaics have attracted the attention of not only mathematicians, but also physicists, as their structure resembles the arrangement of atoms in certain quasicrystals. The female turkey is capable of laying eggs even without the participation of a male due to a phenomenon known as parthenogenesis. In this case, the development of the embryo begins from an unfertilized egg, making the reproductive process unusual for most vertebrate animals. Although such occurrences are extremely rare and usually do not lead to mass offspring production, they have been documented in some birds, including turkeys. The peculiarity of this mechanism lies in the fact that genetic processes result in the formation of only male individuals. Therefore, the chick that hatches from such an egg is always a male. Such cases are of great interest to biologists as they allow for a better understanding of the mechanisms of heredity and the development of organisms. Almost all chemical elements found in the universe were formed in the cores of stars through complex nuclear reactions. In their hot and dense cores, thermonuclear fusion occurs, during which light atoms gradually transform into heavier ones. This process creates elements heavier than lithium, including carbon, oxygen, and silicon, which form the basis of planets and living organisms. However, the formation of even heavier elements requires much more extreme conditions. Atoms heavier than iron emerge during colossal cosmic catastrophes, supernova explosions. In these moments, an enormous amount of energy is released, allowing atomic nuclei to capture additional neutrons and form elements such as gold, uranium, and platinum. Some astronauts have claimed that space has a distinctive smell that can be sensed after venturing into open space. The vacuum itself does not transmit odors. However, particles and substances that settle on spacesuits and equipment can be carried inside the spacecraft upon the crew's return. Astronauts have described this aroma in various ways. It resembled the smell of gunpowder, hot metal, welding, or slightly burnt baked goods. It is suggested that such sensations may be linked to chemical reactions of high-energy particles interacting with the materials of the equipment. Some scientists also note that if odors could be perceived on a cosmic scale, a large number of sulfur and ammonia compounds might create a smell reminiscent of sulfurous gases. Lions have an impressive ability to quickly replenish their energy after hunting. An adult predator can consume up to 40 kilograms of meat in one meal, which is approximately a quarter of its body weight. This characteristic is related to the irregular nature of hunting. A successful catch may not happen every day. Therefore, lions try to eat as much as possible while food is available. After such a hearty meal, the animals often rest for an extended period, digesting their food and recovering their strength before the next hunt. The age-old philosophical question of what came first, the chicken or the egg, has received a scientific explanation thanks to biological research. Scientists have concluded that a specific protein produced in the chicken's body plays a crucial role in the formation of the eggshell. This protein is involved in the formation of calcium crystals, which make up the hard shell of the egg. Since the process of shell formation depends on the physiology of the bird itself, researchers believe that the chicken must have existed before the egg as we know it today. This conclusion is based on the study of biochemical processes occurring in the bodies of these domesticated birds. Archaeological findings indicate that beer production has a very ancient history. During excavations in the territory of China, researchers discovered the remains of a brewery dating back around 5,000 years. In underground chambers, vessels, furnaces, and other tools used for brewing, the beverage were found. Analysis revealed that these items date back to the period between approximately 3,400 and 2,900 years before our era. Such discoveries confirm that fermented beverages were produced long before the advent of modern technologies and played an important role in the culture of ancient societies. The planet Uranus is one of the giants of the solar system and significantly surpasses Earth in size. When comparing their volumes, several dozens of planets the size of ours could fit inside Uranus. According to rough estimates, the total volume of this icy giant is so vast that it could accommodate about 63 Earths. The main mass of the planet consists of water ice, ammonia, and methane, forming a dense and cold internal structure. The atmosphere of Uranus is tinted a bluish-green due to the presence of methane, which absorbs the red part of sunlight. Its enormous size and unusual composition make this planet one of the most interesting for study among the outer worlds of the solar system. The scent of the human body can vary slightly depending on the state of the organism, including periods of sleep and wakefulness. These differences are related to the functioning of metabolism, the activity of sweat glands, and hormonal processes. During sleep, body temperature, breathing rate, and levels of certain hormones gradually change, which affects the chemical composition of sweat and skin secretions. Microorganisms living on the skin's surface process these substances and create a distinctive odor. As a result, body aroma may differ slightly in the morning and throughout the day. Although the changes are usually minor, studies show that the physiological state of the body can influence the chemical signals emitted by a person. The snow leopard is known as one of the most agile and powerful predators of the mountainous regions of Central Asia. Its long hind legs and flexible body allow it to make impressive leaps over rocks and deep gorges. According to the conservation organization the Snow Leopard Trust, these animals can cover a distance of up to 10 meters in a single jump. This ability helps leopards effectively hunt in the challenging mountainous terrain. For a visual comparison, this distance is roughly equivalent to the length of a classic two-story London bus. Such a capability makes the snow leopard one of the most remarkable jumpers among large cats. A tie that is tied too tightly can have an unexpected impact on a person's well-being. A study published in 2018 revealed that significant pressure on the neck area can disrupt normal blood circulation. In some cases, this leads to increased pressure in the eyes, the onset of headaches, dizziness, and even feelings of nausea. Furthermore, the fabric of the tie can accumulate microbes, as this accessory is rarely subjected to regular washing. Scientists note that an excessively tight knot can reduce blood flow to the brain by approximately 7.5%, which explains the emergence of unpleasant symptoms. Chocolate poses a serious danger to many animals. Although for humans it is a common product, the main reason lies in the presence of theobromine, a substance found in cocoa beans. The human body can relatively quickly process this compound, but in dogs, cats, birds, and several other animals, the breakdown process occurs significantly slower. As a result, theobromine accumulates and begins to act as a toxin, disrupting the functioning of the heart and nervous system. Even small doses can cause poisoning, while larger amounts can lead to severe consequences. This is why veterinarians consider chocolate a potentially dangerous product for pets. Forests play a key role in shaping and maintaining the planet's water balance. Research shows that more than 3/4 of available fresh water comes from river systems that flow through forested areas or are located nearby. Trees actively participate in the water cycle by absorbing water from the soil and evaporating it through their leaves into the atmosphere. This process contributes to cloud formation and precipitation. This phenomenon is particularly noticeable in the Amazon rainforest, where vast forested areas can influence the region's climate and create their own rainy seasons. Common city pigeons have vision that is markedly different from that of humans and includes the ability to perceive ultraviolet radiation. Due to the unique structure of their retinas, their eyes capture additional ranges of light that are inaccessible to humans. This ability helps the birds navigate their environment and distinguish details that remain invisible to people. The intellectual capabilities of pigeons have also proven to be surprisingly high. In scientific experiments, the birds were trained to recognize various artistic styles and even differentiate features of musical genres. Moreover, in a number of studies, pigeons successfully identified signs of cancer in medical images. When several trained birds worked together, their collective accuracy sometimes matched or even exceeded the results of specialists. The anatomy of a cat has a unique feature that distinguishes its reproductive system from that of humans. In females of this species, the uterus has a bifurcated structure consisting of 2 separate horns. This arrangement allows for the simultaneous carrying of multiple embryos distributed across different sections of the uterus. Thanks to this biological mechanism, it is possible for kittens in one litter to have different fathers. If a female mates with several males within a short period, fertilization of different eggs can occur from different partners. As a result, a single litter can contain kittens with varying genetic backgrounds, which is sometimes noticeable in their physical appearance. Sea stars possess one of the most impressive regeneration abilities among marine animals. Their bodies are structured in such a way that even serious injuries can be healed over time. If a sea star loses one of its arms, it can gradually regrow a new one, fully restoring the lost tissues. In some cases, the process can go even further. A detached arm, if it retains a part of the central disc, can develop into a complete new sea star. This ability is linked to the presence of special cells and tissue repair mechanisms. Thanks to such regeneration, sea stars can survive predator attacks and maintain their population. Alcohol is often perceived as a means to escape difficulties, yet its effects on the body are quite the opposite. From a medical standpoint, it is classified as a depressant that slows down the central nervous system. Under the influence of alcohol, reaction times decrease, attention span worsens, and feelings of depression may intensify. This is why healthcare professionals emphasize the importance of moderate consumption of such beverages. In small doses, the impact on the body is less pronounced, while regular or excessive intake can heighten stress and negatively affect overall mental well-being. The history of early automobile manufacturing features a remarkable episode that took place in the state of Ohio at the end of the 19th century. At that time, automobiles were just beginning to appear on the roads, and there were only two of them in the entire state. Transportation was still primarily conducted by horse or train, making an encounter with a car an extremely rare event. However, these two automobiles once found themselves on the same road and collided with each other. The incident seems almost unbelievable given the extremely small number of vehicles. This curiosity is often cited as a symbol of the early years of the automotive era, when traffic was just starting to develop and rules and infrastructure were virtually non-existent. The reliability of performing complex gymnastic elements largely depends on the work of the spotting assistants who are present with the athlete during training and competitions. Their main task is to prevent falls and reduce the likelihood of injury. These specialists closely monitor the gymnast's movements and are ready to intervene at any moment if they notice a loss of balance or a mistake in executing the element. Quick reactions allow them to support the athlete or cushion a potential fall. Thanks to the presence of spotting assistants, gymnasts can more confidently master new, more challenging exercises and gradually improve their technique. The passenger pigeon was once considered one of the most numerous bird species on the planet. Huge flocks of these birds inhabited the forests of North America and amazed contemporaries with their scale. Historical estimates suggest that the population of the species could have reached several billion individuals. When such flocks took to the skies, they could block the sky for many miles and eclipse the sunlight. However, intense hunting and widespread deforestation quickly reduced the population. In a relatively short period, the once abundant species found itself on the brink of extinction. The last known bird, named Martha, lived in a zoo and died in the early 20th century, becoming a symbol of how quickly humans can destroy even an extremely numerous species. The word second is connected to the system of dividing time that originated in medieval astronomy. An hour was traditionally divided into 60 parts, giving rise to the concept of a minute, which was referred to as the first division. Then, each minute was further divided into 60 equal segments. This second division became known as second, derived from a Latin expression meaning secondary small part. Over time, this unit became the primary measure for short intervals of time. Today, the second is used in science, technology, and everyday life, with its modern definition based on the vibrations of cesium atoms. Magnolias are among the oldest flowering plants on Earth, and their origins date back deep into geological history. These plants emerged during a time when many modern pollinators had not yet evolved. Bees, butterflies, and birds, which play a significant role in pollen transfer today, appeared much later. Therefore, the evolution of magnolias occurred in the context of interactions with other insects, primarily beetles. The structure of their flowers reflects this ancient pollination strategy. The petals and inner parts of the flower are sturdy enough to withstand the movement of beetles that feed on pollen while simultaneously transferring it between plants. In this way, magnolias have preserved one of the most ancient mechanisms of pollination among flowering plants. Criminological research shows that serial crimes remain a complex and difficult-to-track category of crime. The concept of a serial killer typically refers to a person who has committed several murders with intervals in between, which distinguishes such crimes from single or mass attacks. Estimating the exact number of such criminals in the world is extremely challenging, as many cases remain unsolved for long periods or are not connected to one another. Some experts suggest that at any given time, there may be hundreds of such criminals operating in various countries. These estimates are based on the analysis of statistics, unsolved cases, and typical behavioral patterns of criminals studied by criminologists and profilers. Certain parts of the fugu fish, also known as pufferfish, can be extremely dangerous to humans due to the presence of a potent natural toxin. In its body, there is a toxin called tetrodotoxin, which serves as a defense against predators. This substance affects the nervous system and can block the transmission of signals between nerves and muscles. Even a small amount of this toxin can cause severe poisoning. According to experts, the toxin in one fish can be enough to pose a lethal threat to several dozen people. This is why the preparation of fugu dishes is only permitted for specially trained chefs. Jupiter has such a massive size that its gravitational influence is noticeable even on the movement of the sun. In reality, no celestial body in the solar system orbits strictly around the center of the sun. All objects, including the sun itself, move around a common center of mass of the system. In the case of the Sun-Jupiter pair, this center is located very close to the surface of the star and sometimes even extends beyond its limits. Therefore, the sun slightly wobbles, responding to the pull of the giant planet. This interaction resembles the movement of binary star systems, where both objects orbit around a common point of equilibrium. Penguins are capable of drinking seawater due to a special mechanism for excreting salt from their bodies. Specialized glands located above their eyes filter excess salts from the blood that come with seawater and food. The concentrated saline solution is then expelled through nasal passages and can trickle down their beaks. This physiological mechanism allows the birds to maintain a normal water-salt balance even in conditions of constant contact with a salty environment. Thanks to this adaptation, penguins do not rely on freshwater sources and can spend most of their lives in the ocean. The search engine Google was initially developed under a different name, Backrub. This project was created as a research project by students exploring ways to analyze links between web pages. Later, the developers decided to choose a new name that would reflect the vastness of information on the internet. Thus, the name Google was born, derived from the mathematical term Google, a number consisting of 1 followed by 100 zeros. This term symbolized the enormous amounts of data that the system aimed to index and organize. Forest ecosystems play a key role in preserving biodiversity on Earth. Scientists note that more than 80% of all terrestrial species of animals, plants, and insects inhabit forests. These natural complexes create diverse environmental conditions, from dense tree canopies to shady understories and rich soils. Such diversity of microhabitats allows many different organisms to thrive. Therefore, forest conservation is considered one of the most important tasks in environmental protection and maintaining the resilience of global ecosystems. Scientific names of animals sometimes sound unusual and even ironic, and the striped skunk is a vivid example of this. Its Latin name, Mephitis mephitis, is derived from a word associated with a sharp and unpleasant odor. If translated literally, it means something like very stinky or stinky stinky. This designation is directly related to the defensive characteristic of this animal. In case of danger, the skunk is capable of spraying a stream of liquid with an extremely strong smell that can linger on surfaces or clothing for a long time. It is this distinctive feature that led to such an expressive scientific name. An unusual fashion experiment caught the industry's attention when the fashion house Balenciaga introduced a skirt that looks almost indistinguishable from a regular bath towel. This model is part of the spring collection of 2024 and is made from soft cotton fabric reminiscent of classic terry material. The design features a button closure and a hidden internal belt, ensuring that the skirt is securely fastened at the waist. From the outside, it appears as a towel casually wrapped around the body after a shower. Despite the simplicity of the idea, the item falls into the category of designer clothing and is priced at approximately $925. In the first decades of the modern Olympic Games, the competitions included not only sports disciplines, but also artistic contests. In these events, participants were awarded medals for artworks dedicated to sports themes. Awards were given in categories such as music, painting, sculpture, literature, and architecture. During the first 4 decades, 151 medals were awarded. The initiator of this approach was Pierre de Coubertin, the founder of the International Olympic Committee. He believed that the ideals of sports and arts are closely connected and should develop together within the Olympic movement. The famous Statue of Liberty, soon after its unveiling, served not only a symbolic but also a practical function. Approximately 1 month after its installation in 1886, its torch began to be used as a navigation light for vessels entering New York Harbor. For about 16 years, the structure effectively functioned as a lighthouse. The light installed in the statue's torch was bright enough to be seen from a distance of up to 24 miles. This role helped sailors navigate near the coast and became one of the lesser-known chapters in the history of this iconic monument. Beer holds a significant place among the most popular beverages on the planet and ranks just behind a few types of everyday drinks in terms of popularity. Research on the global market shows that its consumption remains consistently high in many countries. According to experts, in the year 2022, the total volume of beer consumed worldwide was approximately 192,100,000 liters. This figure reflects the scale of global production and the cultural significance of the beverage. Different regions have their own brewing traditions, making beer an important part of the culinary history of many peoples. In the United States, there is a unique geographical point where the borders of 4 states converge. This place is known as the Four Corners Monument. Here, the territories of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico intersect. The uniqueness of this point lies in the fact that a person can literally stand in 4 different states at the same time by placing their hands and feet on each side of the border. Due to this rare geographical configuration, the site has become a popular tourist attraction. The black and white color scheme of the football was not a coincidence. It was linked to the development of television broadcasting. As sports broadcasts began to be actively shown on black and white televisions, there arose a need to make the ball as visible as possible on screen. The contrasting black and white panels allowed viewers to track its movement more easily, even with low image quality. This design became particularly famous after the World Cup in 1970, when the ball with its distinctive geometric pattern became a widely recognized symbol of football. Human decisions do not always arise in consciousness at the moment when one believes they have made a choice. Experiments in the field of neurobiology show that activity in certain areas of the brain begins to form even before a person is aware of their intention to act. Using neuroimaging methods, researchers have detected signals predicting future choices long before the participant reports having made a decision. Sometimes this preliminary activity occurs within fractions of a second, while in other cases, it happens significantly earlier. These observations suggest that subconscious processes play an important role in shaping behavior, and conscious decision-making may merely be the final stage of a more complex neural process. The reserves of oil and natural gas on the planet seem colossal. However, compared to the energy of the sun, they are quite limited. If we consider all the energy contained in these fossil resources and compare it to the flow of solar radiation reaching the Earth, the difference becomes evident. The amount of energy that the sun transmits to the surface of the planet in a very short period is comparable to the entire energy potential of oil and gas accumulated in the Earth's crust. According to rough estimates, the solar energy that falls on the Earth in just a few days, about 8.5 days, equals the total energy of all these fossil reserves. This clearly illustrates the scale of the solar energy source. The tendency of people to pay attention to shiny objects is sometimes linked to ancient survival mechanisms that developed through evolution. One hypothesis suggests that the appeal of shimmering surfaces may be connected to the search for water sources. In open areas, water often reflects sunlight, creating characteristic glimmers and ripples. For ancient humans, the ability to quickly notice such reflections could have increased the chances of finding a water source essential for survival. Over time, this mechanism may have solidified as a general response to shine and reflective surfaces. Although the theory remains a topic of discussion, it offers a possible explanation for why sparkling objects often capture human attention. The structure of a common carrot turns out to be much more complex than it may seem at first glance. This root vegetable consists of 2 main internal systems that perform different functions. The central part is called xylem and is responsible for the movement of water and dissolved minerals within the plant. Surrounding it is phloem, the tissue through which sugars and other nutrients produced in the leaves are distributed. This separation ensures efficient nourishment and growth of the plant. In laboratory conditions, researchers can sometimes separate these layers from each other using pressure or special processing methods, allowing for a more detailed study of their structure and properties. The sensation of burning sharpness in the mouth is not related to the work of taste buds, but rather to the nervous system's reaction to chemical irritation. Substances like capsaicin, found in chili peppers, affect the pain receptors in the mucous membrane of the mouth. These receptors typically respond to high temperatures or physical damage, which is why the brain interprets the signal as a burning sensation. This is precisely why spicy food is not considered a separate taste alongside sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. It is more of a sensory reaction associated with the body's protective mechanisms. The creators of the series Game of Thrones used an unusual source for the costumes while working on the looks of the Night's Watch fighters. To create the rugged fur capes, the costume designers utilized ordinary rugs purchased from IKEA. These items underwent a complex process. They were sheared, dyed, aged, and further altered in texture. After such preparation, the rugs began to resemble coarse fur cloaks suitable for the cold climate of the fictional world. Thanks to these techniques, the costumes appeared natural and convincing on screen, while the production of props remained relatively inexpensive and practical. The common story that NASA supposedly spent huge sums on creating a special space pen, while Soviet cosmonauts used regular pencils, is actually a myth. The real story is much simpler. The device capable of writing in zero gravity was developed by American inventor Paul C. Fisher. He created a pen with a sealed cartridge and special ink that could function in the absence of gravity and under various temperature conditions. After testing, Fisher's company offered these pens to space agencies, and NASA purchased them at a price of about $6 each, which was quite a standard cost for technical equipment. The practice of quarantine emerged as a protective measure against deadly epidemics, particularly during the spread of the Black Death in Europe. In medieval port cities, authorities required that ships arriving from potentially infected regions did not disembark people and cargo immediately upon arrival. Vessels were to remain anchored for a designated waiting period to ensure that there were no signs of illness among the crew. This period lasted 40 days. The Italian word quaranta means 40, and it is from this that the word quarantine eventually derived. Such measures helped reduce the risk of introducing infections into cities and became one of the first systematic methods of sanitary control in history. Prion diseases represent a rare but extremely dangerous group of infectious disorders associated with abnormal proteins. Unlike bacteria or viruses, prions do not contain genetic material and spread by altering the structure of normal proteins in the body. These pathological proteins are resistant to most disinfection methods and can persist in the environment, including soil, for extended periods. Such diseases gradually destroy nervous tissue and typically have severe consequences for the body. Due to the high resistance of the pathogens, special processing measures are employed when handling potentially contaminated materials, including the use of strong oxidizing solutions. The disease generally develops gradually and often leads to death several years after infection. Lions are among the largest representatives of the cat family and show a noticeable size difference between males and females. Adult males are usually significantly larger and heavier than their partners. The average weight of a male lion can reach around 190 kilograms, while the weight of females typically amounts to about 125 kilograms. This difference is related to the behavioral traits and social structure of the pride. Males more often take on the role of protectors of the territory in the group, which is why their bodies are characterized by a more powerful build and developed musculature. Growing pineapple takes significantly more time than one might expect, given its size and prevalence in stores. From the moment of planting to the formation of a mature fruit, it usually takes anywhere from 1.5 to 3 years. The plant first develops a strong rosette of long leaves, gradually accumulating energy and nutrients. Only after a considerable amount of time does a flower stalk emerge in the center of the rosette, from which the future fruit will form. After flowering, numerous individual flowers gradually fuse together, creating the familiar shape of the pineapple. This slow development cycle makes the plant a relatively labor-intensive crop for agriculture. The sleep of hummingbirds is accompanied by a sharp slowdown in life processes, which can make the bird appear almost lifeless. At night, many hummingbirds enter a special state called torpor. During this period, heart rate and breathing significantly decrease, and body temperature noticeably drops. This mode allows them to conserve energy, which is especially important for these tiny birds with an extremely fast metabolism. During the day, their hearts can beat hundreds of times per minute, but while sleeping, the body seems to slow down, helping them survive the night without active feeding. During a predator chase, some antelopes perform characteristic high jumps, rising almost vertically above the grass. This behavior is known as stotting or demonstration jumping. At first glance, it seems ineffective, as running directly on the ground allows for greater speed. However, researchers suggest that the jumps may serve a signaling function. The predator receives a visual signal about the physical strength and endurance of potential prey, which may cause it to abandon the chase. Additionally, the chaotic movements within the herd make it difficult to select a specific target, increasing the animal's chances of escape. The scent that many people notice after rain has its own scientific name, petrichor. This distinctive aroma occurs when raindrops fall on dry soil and release volatile compounds. Substances emitted by soil bacteria play an important role in its formation, as do oils that accumulate in plants and on the ground surface during dry weather. When raindrops strike the air and water, these compounds are lifted into the atmosphere as tiny aerosols. It is these that create the familiar smell of freshness, which is often particularly pronounced after a long drought. The platypus has an unusual system for feeding its offspring, which is noticeably different from what is typical for most mammals. These animals lack nipples, through which milk is usually released. Instead, the mammary glands open directly onto the surface of the skin. Milk is secreted through tiny pores and collects in grooves on the female's body, after which the young lick it up. This feature is considered one of the ancient traits of mammalian evolution and is characteristic of members of the order Monotremes. It highlights the unique position of the platypus in the animal kingdom, combining traits from different evolutionary lines. The history of American college football begins with a match played at the end of the 19th century between two university teams. The first official game took place on the 6th of November in the year 1869. On the field, the teams of Rutgers University and Princeton University, which at that time was known as the College of New Jersey, faced off. The rules of that game were significantly different from modern American football and resembled a mix of soccer and rugby. The Rutgers University team emerged victorious in this historic match. The popular video game The Sims was released in the early 2000s and quickly became one of the most well-known life simulation games. However, the initial concept of the project was somewhat different. The developer's idea was for players to first build a house and then observe virtual characters who would independently test the layout's convenience. This approach was reminiscent of the principles of another well-known game, SimCity, where the focus was on designing and functioning of the urban environment. Over time, the concept evolved, and the everyday lives of the characters, their relationships, work, and domestic decisions became the centerpiece of the game. In marine ecosystems, there are parasites with quite unusual ways of existence, and one of the most well-known examples is a crustacean that affects fish. This organism enters the host's mouth through the gills and attaches itself to the base of the tongue. Gradually, the parasite feeds on the tissues of the tongue, causing the organ to atrophy and disappear. After this, the crustacean secures itself in place and begins to function as a sort of replacement for the lost organ. The fish continues to use the parasite when capturing food, while the parasite feeds on mucus and food particles. This interaction is considered a unique example of parasitism, where the organism not only lives inside the host, but effectively replaces one of its anatomical structures. Sloths are known for their extremely slow way of life and spend most of their time hanging from tree branches. Their long, curved claws help them securely grip the branches, even when the animal is asleep. However, this strategy sometimes leads to unusual situations. Observations show that sloths may accidentally grab their own paw, mistaking it for a branch. If the animal shifts its weight onto it, this can result in a loss of support and a fall. Such occurrences are rare, but they highlight how slow movements and unique coordination are characteristic of these tree-dwelling mammals. Observations by psychologists show that many people experience a surge of creative ideas while taking a shower. The warm water relaxes the body and reduces tension levels, creating conditions for a freer flow of thoughts. In these moments, the brain shifts into a calmer mode of operation, which can lead to unexpected associations and new solutions. Additionally, warmth stimulates the production of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with motivation and the feeling of pleasure. An increase in its levels can positively impact creative thinking helping a person to more easily find original ideas and unconventional approaches. Historical figures often associated with completely different eras sometimes turn out to be contemporaries. A striking example is Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank. The former became one of the most renowned leaders of the civil rights movement in the United States, while the latter is known for her diary written during her hiding from Nazi persecution. Despite the differences in the historical context of their lives, both were born almost simultaneously. The difference between their birth dates is only about 6 months. This fact illustrates how differently the fates of people can unfold, living at the same time but in different circumstances and countries. A typical faucet is a small yet highly engineered mechanism designed for precise control of water flow. Inside its body is a valve that manages the opening or closing of the channel. When a person turns the handle, the system transmits the motion to the internal components, altering the position of the shutoff element. As a result, water either begins to flow freely, or its stream decreases or completely stops. This design allows for easy control of liquid supply and maintenance of the desired pressure. Due to its relatively simple mechanics, the faucet remains a reliable and durable device used in nearly all water supply systems. One of the most powerful animals on land is the African savanna elephant. Due to its enormous body mass and exceptionally developed musculature, it is capable of lifting colossal weights. Scientists note that an adult elephant can lift a load weighing up to 6,000 kilograms, roughly the same as its own weight. What is particularly impressive is that this refers to lifting objects that are lying on the ground. To achieve this, the animal uses a combination of neck, torso, and trunk strength. Such physical power helps elephants move logs, break tree branches, and clear a path through the dense vegetation of the savanna. The main danger of contemporary climate change is not so much the fact of changing conditions, but rather how quickly these processes are occurring. Throughout Earth's geological history, the climate has changed repeatedly. There have been periods of cooling, warming, and significant temperature fluctuations. However, such changes typically unfolded over thousands or even millions of years. During that time, ecosystems were able to gradually adapt, and species could migrate or evolve. In the current situation, the rate of change is significantly higher. The rapid increase in temperature and alteration of natural conditions create challenges for many ecosystems that cannot adapt quickly enough to the new circumstances. The sugar glider is a small marsupial that inhabits the forests of Australia and is known for its social organization. These animals typically live in small groups and maintain active interactions among community members. Communication occurs through a variety of vocal signals, as well as through physical contact, such as mutual grooming. Chemical communication also plays an important role. Gliders mark their territory and other individuals with secretions from scent glands located on their heads and chests. Such markings help animals recognize members of their group and maintain a stable social structure. Through these signals, a hierarchy is formed that regulates relationships within the community. Different types of dinosaurs lived on Earth during periods separated by vast spans of time. For example, stegosaurs existed in the Jurassic period, while Tyrannosaurus rex appeared much later, at the end of the Cretaceous period. There is an interval of tens of millions of years between these two species. In comparison, less time has passed from the extinction of Tyrannosaurus rex to the present day. This fact clearly illustrates how long and complex the history of dinosaurs was. Many of them did not live at the same time and were separated by time distances comparable to or even exceeding the gap between the age of dinosaurs and today. The Walt Disney Company is considered one of the most successful studios in the history of cinema. Over the years, it has repeatedly received recognition from the American Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In total, the studio has won the Academy Awards 26 times and has been nominated for them 59 times. Thanks to these achievements, the company has established a reputation as one of the leading creators of animated and family films. It is here that many iconic characters were born, including Mickey Mouse, which is why the studio is sometimes informally referred to as the House of Mickey Mouse. The names of many ancient streets in the United Kingdom reflect the occupations of the people who once lived and worked in those areas. This is why in different cities you can find names related to crafts or trades, such as Baker Street, which literally means street of bakers. However, some historical names originated from less respectable circumstances. During the medieval period, there were streets named Gropecunt Lane, where brothels were located. Over time, such names came to be considered indecent, leading to many of them being changed. In some cities, they were softened to forms like Grope Lane in Bristol or Grape Lane in York, retaining only a distant reminder of their historical past. The sun dominates the solar system not only in size and brightness, but also in mass. Almost all the matter in the system is concentrated in this star. According to astronomers' estimates, the sun contains about 99.86% of the total mass of the solar system. The remaining fraction is distributed among the planets, their moons, asteroids, comets, and interplanetary dust. Even the largest planets, such as Jupiter and Saturn, hold only a small portion of the total mass of the system compared to the sun. This concentration of matter explains why the gravity of the sun dictates the movement of all other objects around it. In the history of the United States, there is an intriguing coincidence related to the date of the national holiday, Independence Day. 3 presidents of the country, who were also among the founding fathers, died on the 4th of July. These are John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe. It is particularly noteworthy that Adams and Jefferson passed away on the same day and in the same year. In the year 1826, exactly 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Several years later, also on the 4th of July, James Monroe died, making this coincidence even more remarkable for historians. Birds known as puffins have received an unusual nickname due to their bright appearance. They are often referred to as sea parrots, as the large beak of these birds is painted in contrasting shades of orange, yellow, and red. Puffins spend most of their lives at sea, returning to land primarily during the breeding season. They nest on steep rocky shores and islands in the northern regions of the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. With their ability to swim and dive exceptionally well, these birds catch fish underwater, using their wings as a sort of flippers. This feature makes puffins one of the most recognizable seabirds. The distances between stars are so vast that even the speed of light seems insufficient for interstellar travel. The closest star system to the solar system is called Alpha Centauri and is located more than 4 light-years away from Earth. This means that a beam of light traveling at the maximum possible speed in the universe takes about 4 years to reach it. For modern spacecraft, such distances are practically unreachable in the foreseeable future, as their speed is many thousands of times slower than the speed of light. This fact vividly illustrates the scale of cosmic space and explains why interstellar flights remain one of the most challenging tasks for future space exploration. Sloths are known for their extremely slow way of life, which even affects their method of finding a mate. The females of these animals do not go out in search of males, but instead use sound signals. While perched in a tree, a female emits loud, prolonged calls that carry through the forest. Upon hearing this signal, the nearest male may approach the source of the sound. This method of interaction is related to the fact that sloths move very slowly and expend a lot of energy on their movements. Acoustic communication allows them to find partners without leaving their familiar territory. The history of the board for spiritual sessions, known as the Ouija board, is tied to an unusual and dark legend. One of the executives of the company that produced it, entrepreneur William Fuld, died after falling from the roof of the factory. This event is linked to a popular story claiming that the decision to build the building was supposedly suggested by the board itself during a spiritual session. Although such tales are more in the realm of urban legends, they have contributed to the growing interest in the mystical reputation of the product and reinforced its enigmatic image in popular culture.